what's up, VC? It's Steve again, Harmless Rebel. Just decided to do a quick what's spinning video. Before I jump into that, I wanted to show some VCLT that I just got last week from Kevin, War God 60. Used to be Metal War God. So he got a hold of me a while back and asked me if I was familiar with Freeways. Is it Freeways or Freeway? Yeah, Freeways. And I was. They are a Canadian new wave of traditional metal band. I got their single that came out last year. Their demo, their single. I don't know what they called it exactly. Their single had a little bit of Scorpions on one song, a little bit of UFO. Definitely some Thin Lizzy, and I really dug it. So when I heard they were putting out a full-length CD, I was really really excited to grab a copy. And then it just kind of got lost in all the other stuff that I was wanting to buy. A lot of really good reissues have come out recently, and a lot of bands have just been putting out some killer albums. I've got stuff everywhere. I've got hundreds of albums over there that still haven't been cleaned, new albums that I just haven't got to yet. And it just kind of fell by the wayside. I forgot about it, and I told him I was definitely interested. He also asked me if I was interested in this Night Demon EP, Night Demon single, which I had already tried to buy, but it was sold out. So I was really happy that he ended up getting an extra copy of this. And Night Demon also has another single that just came out. Luckily, I was able to get that one. But this is Empire's Fall and Fast Bikes. Fast Bikes, yeah. Really killer. I love this. You've got the Night Demon destroying the Capitol Records building in LA, which I thought was kind of cool. And this is on clear vinyl. Night Demon is one of the best new wave of traditional metal bands. I absolutely love everything that they've released. Once I get the other single in, I'll have everything that they've released on vinyl. Just a phenomenal band, and if you haven't checked them out, I recommend grabbing any of their albums. There's not a bad starting off point for these guys. So very cool. Oops. And then, like I mentioned, he sent me a copy of Freeways as well. This is their new album. New wave of British heavy metal vibe. Let's see what else it says. The sounds of UFO, Thin Lizzy, and April Wine. There's definitely a lot of UFO here, and definitely a lot of Thin Lizzy with the twin guitar attacks. I will say, I'm not a huge fan of the vocalist's voice. It's not a bad voice. There's just not a lot of dynamics to his voice. Musically, these guys are phenomenal. Their guitar players are top notch. I love the music. And I'm kind of getting used to the voice. I feel like I said this when I talked about the EP as well, or the demo. The vocalist is the weakest part of this band. He's still a good vocalist. I think if they got somebody else, though, it would take these guys over the top. It's a phenomenal album. I still highly recommend checking it out, if nothing else, just for the guitar work. But if you like that 70s hard rock, like I said, Thin Lizzy, UFO sound, definitely worth grabbing. Next up, Kevin also sent Lady Beast, which I was not familiar with. I will be getting all of their albums, though, because of the three albums that he sent, the three full lengths that he sent me. This was my favorite by far. I really like female-fronted metal bands anyway. These guys are very much steeped in new wave of British heavy metal. Think new wave of British heavy metal with a female singer. Really phenomenal. This is their album from 2016, I believe. 2017. They have an album that just came out that I will be buying. They're on Reaper's. What's Reaper's channel? I can't think of the name of it, but they're on Reaper's label for their newest album. And just really killer. This one's just black. I think these are all black vinyl, if I'm not mistaken. Outstanding band, though. I really love the vocalist. She's just got a killer sound. And like I said, if you're into that new wave of British heavy metal sound, which I know a lot of you guys watching my channel are. Highly recommend checking out Lady Beast. Actually, if you're into this band right here, then you will definitely be into this band right here. And then the last one, I haven't spun this one all the way through. I did like what I heard, though. This last one is Bewitcher, and I believe that they have a new album out as well. This one's 2018. I believe they have a brand new album on Shadow Kingdom Records, if I remember correctly. I'm just kind of going off memory, but I feel like last time I was on Shadow Kingdom, on their splash page, they have something about Bewitcher. So check them out. Just really good straight up metal. And then just some stuff that I pulled out to spin. I felt like a little bit of Cinderella and ended up pulling out Night Songs. Love this album. And Cinderella is just... They really did kind of get a raw deal. They came out towards the end of the glam period and got lumped in with the glam bands. I mean, the label had them do this album cover. They've always been more of a blues-based hard rock band, a la Aerosmith. I've always loved these guys, and with each subsequent album, they got a little bit more bluesy and a little less metal, which I absolutely love. I love everything that they've released. So I went ahead and pulled that one out and listened to it, which is just an absolute classic album. Not a bad track on there. And then I pulled this one out. I hadn't listened to this in quite some time and gave this a couple spins. This one is Still Climbing. This one's on clear vinyl. These were pretty limited. However, somebody came across a stockpile a couple of years ago, and you could buy these sealed on eBay, mint, for like $10. And it was like that for like 6 months, and then people got word and they disappeared, and now they're going for like $40. But if you can find this absolutely phenomenal album, the only one I need from them now is Heartbreak Station, which I have on cassette and CD. Love that album too. Guns N' Roses. I pulled this one out, last month, maybe the month before, and just got around to playing it a couple days ago. I've talked about their debut, probably one of the top 5 debuts of all time. One of the top 10, maybe top 15 hard rock albums of all time. Love it. I don't think they released another good album after that. I think... had they taken the best songs off of this and the best songs off of Use Your Illusion 1, they could have put together an amazing album. But I think both of these were just full of filler. And I haven't been a huge fan of them since they came out. There's a couple of great songs on here. But, Knocking on Heaven's Door. What was the other? Don't Cry were their biggest hits off of here. Civil War is good. It's a good album. Based on their whole discography, though, I don't know why they're in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I know a lot of people say I'm crazy. I think they had one amazing album and then a bunch of mediocre albums after that. And I've never understood why people still put up with their shit. But just my 2 cents. I don't get me wrong, I love that album. I like the songs on there. It was cool to pull that out and listen to it for the first time, and probably... since I bought it 8 years ago or 10 years ago, whenever I bought that. But, if I want to listen to Guns N' Roses, it's going to be the debut album. Next up, Motorhead, Overnight Sensation. I've shown this one a couple times before. This is one I've just never... This is probably my least favorite Motorhead album. It's not that it's a bad album. I don't know what it was. I generally love the 90s era Motorhead, and this one just kind of falls flat for me. It's a good... The whole album is good. There's just not any really standout tracks on here like all their albums usually have 1 or 2 really standout tracks, and then the rest of it's just really good stuff. This one, it's good. There's just no standout tracks for me. It's one of those I pull out every once in a while and try to give it another spin to see if I was just in the wrong headspace the last time I listened to it. And, you know, I'm still not there. Um, you know, of the 37 albums that Motorhead released, this one being my least favorite is not a bad thing. This is still a really good album. So, next up, one of the, oh man, probably one of the best thrash albums of the 90s. Was this 92 when this came out? I don't even remember. And it doesn't say on here. Regardless, a lot of people consider this the band's best album. I don't think it's their best album, but it's definitely in their top 3 or 4. Outstanding album, beginning to end. The first 5 songs of this are amazing. Just the whole album is amazing, but those first 5 songs, they just murdered. But this is Agent Orange from Sodom. If you've watched my last few metal videos, I've just been on a Sodom kick. I've actually got 2 more albums sitting there that I'm going to listen to later on. I don't know. I just, you know, you just get in those moods, and I've really been in a Sodom mood the last couple weeks. Next up, these next 2 kind of go together. So we'll start with this one. Fresh out of his band Accept, Udo released Mean Machine on his solo project UDO. Killer song, or killer album. I actually like this more than Animal House. Just a phenomenal. This was his second album. He was still, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure he was still with Accept when he did the first album, though. But Mean Machine, just killer. A lot of people say this should have been the next Accept album. A lot of people don't like the first Accept album without Udo. I'm not one of those people. After I listened to this, I had to pull this one out and listen to it as well. I love this album. Eat the Heat from Accept. Definitely a little bit different sound. Accept's one of those bands. I get why people were mad about this one. This was the first time that Accept had a new singer. People were not interested in hearing Accept without Udo. Ultimately, this led the way for their current singer. The current lineup of Accept, I think, is absolutely amazing. Their last album, Blind Rage, which is back behind here, is one of my top 3 Accept albums. And I love everything that they released with Udo. But I really like this too. Is it David Reese? Yeah, with David Reese on vocals. He would come... he would end up going, and I don't know if he joined or formed Bangalore Choir, but he sang with Bangalore Choir. Shout out to Scott Waters and No Life Till Metal Records. You can pre-order his reissue of the Bangalore Choir album. Original pressings go for like $300, and he's doing a limited run, so make sure you grab them. But David Reese sounded great on here. I love this album. If you can find this in a good condition, grab it. They're not expensive. I think I paid like $10 for this, and this is a promo copy. Another just absolute classic album. Too Late to Pray from Tyrant. I actually have an original pressing of this that sounds great. I may do this, may be one for a comparison later on. However, Shadow Kingdom, Shadow Kingdom reissued their first 3 albums. And I believe they released their new album too, which I haven't checked out yet, but I've heard good things. The reason I ended up getting this is because I bought this. I ended up getting all 3, but this is the red vinyl pressing. It's signed by the guitar players and their manager inside the gatefold. So I got it because it was signed and it was a good price. Now, I don't know how many of them were signed. I've looked on, they weren't advertised as being signed, and I've looked on Discogs, and nobody's mentioned that their copies were signed. I know that the one that Scott Waters got was signed as well, so if any of you guys grabbed the Shadow Kingdom, let me know if yours was signed as well. I'm just kind of curious about that, and all 3 of mine were, if you bought the colored vinyl. Next up, last year's release from Trevor Church of Haunt's first band, well, the first band that I know of, Beastmaker. So Beastmaker has traditionally been a Doom, traditional metal / Doom band. They've got like 15 EPs. I don't even know if no, I believe they have one LP, which I have a promo copy of on CD. Regardless, this one, not very doomy. This EP is Eye of the Storm, and it's more straight up traditional metal. But I love Trevor Church. Everything that he seems to put his hands on is just gold. All of the Haunt stuff is absolutely phenomenal, and I can't stress how much you need to have the Haunt albums on vinyl. Next up, Love Life, Goodbye Lady Jane. This one was done by Rocks Records. What was the band's original? Was it Love Life? I can't remember. I believe the name is the same. They just cleaned up the album. Actually, that's what it was. The album art had all these flowers. It looked like a hippie psych album, and it's not. It's kind of in the vein of Skid Row. Not quite as heavy, but the vocalist has a similar sound. Really good album, though. Definitely worth checking out. Next up, I've talked about this band a bunch of times. I really dig this band, and it's not... If I heard the description I'm about to give of this band, it's something I would not even check out. Luckily, I found either this CD, this is their third album, either this one on CD or their second album. And it was kind of off at first, but I got into it, and now I really like them. Now, I don't know how their newest albums have sounded, but these two that I have, and this one is 2000... When was this? 2015, and I think there's one from 2013 I have. It's really good metal mixed with kind of a synth sound, but it's not 80s synth. It's more of a 90s synth sound, and kind of a synth pop sound mixed with traditional metal. It sounds weird. It's really cool, though, and I really dig both of these albums. This is one that I got in Phoenix when I was there. Was it last year, I believe? Signed by the band. Actually, also, these last two were from Phoenix as well. Pulled these out and gave them additional spins. We've got Sacred Child. Actually, funny enough, I don't think he was on this album, but David Reese was in this band for a short time. Yeah, he's not credited on here, but he was actually in this band for a short time before he joined Accept. Another female-fronted traditional metal band. The singer, what's her name? Astrid Young. I don't know if she did anything else. I couldn't find anything. Her voice is phenomenal. I really dig her voice. This one was a near mint cutout. It's not marked promo. It's not listed as a promo copy, but it comes with the promo package inside of it, which was kind of cool. And then last but not least, this was a grail. I had been looking for this in good condition for a good price for years, and I ended up finding it for like $20 in Phoenix, and it's in really good shape. But this is White Spirit, new wave of British heavy metal that gave us this guy right here, Yannick Gers, who went on to play for Iron Maiden. And just phenomenal new wave of British heavy metal. If you can find a copy of this, grab it. It's funny. High Roller released it like 4 or 5 years ago, and I missed out on their copy. Their copy is cool because it has, if I remember correctly, it came with the 7-inch, but it has some additional tracks that aren't on here. However, that is now more expensive than original pressings are, which is kind of funny. So, also, once again, thanks a lot to Kevin. He also sent me a copy of the Freeway CD, which I've been spending quite a bit in the car, along with the New Testament, which will, I don't know. I would have said a few months ago that the New Testament would be in my top 5 for the year. I don't think it's not going to make the top 5, and it may not make the top 10. There's been some phenomenal albums coming out this year. I'm really shocked how much good metal has been coming out. But that's it, guys. I will talk to you soon. Subscribe and take care.